Nothing you meet is random, it's all connected. What if the person you trusted the most, who once seemed like a soulmate, suddenly turns on you? What if, after all your hard work to heal and stand strong, they pull one final trick to drag you back into their control? Carl Jung, in his deep exploration of the human psyche, discovered a chilling truth about narcissists. Their greatest fear is not being abandoned, it's something far more sinister. The moment you begin to grow stronger than they are, when you stop seeking their validation and start trusting your own instincts, that's when the real battle begins. You see, narcissists thrive on control, not love. They need someone to feed off, someone whose energy can sustain their fragile ego. And when they sense their grip slipping away, they don't just walk away. No, they deploy a dirty trick, one so subtle, so dangerous, that it can unravel years of your healing in a matter of weeks. This isn't about love, it's about power. In the next moments, you'll witness how their manipulation takes shape, a tactic so disturbing that it will make you question everything you thought you knew about them. Are you ready to see the trap they set? Or will you step back, stronger than before? The game is not what you think. Imagine this. You've begun to heal, you've set boundaries, and for the first time you stand confidently in your own power, but then something changes in the way they look at you. The person who once manipulated your every move begins to see you differently, not as a source of control, but as a threat. Carl Jung understood the deep fear narcissists harbor, and it's not what most people think. It's not rejection or abandonment that shakes them to the core. No, their greatest terror is something much more unsettling. The moment you outgrow them, the moment you become stronger than they are. This is the pivotal moment, the power inversion crisis. And what happens next? The narcissist can't bear to face their own weakness, so they start to dismantle yours. They can no longer feed off your confusion or insecurities. Instead, they target your newfound strength, the very thing that stands between them and complete control over you. And as they feel their grip slipping, they reach for their most manipulative weapon, making you question the person you've become. They'll twist your progress, your growth, into something you should feel ashamed of. They'll try to pull you back into the person you used to be, the person they could control. But this isn't just a game. It's a battle for your freedom. And they won't stop until they've won. What if I told you that the person who once claimed to love you is now targeting your greatest strength? They're no longer interested in your weaknesses, they've seen enough of that. No, now they focus on the very things that made you whole, the qualities that have helped you heal and grow stronger. As Carl Jung revealed, narcissists don't just fear rejection, they fear what they can no longer control. When you start standing in your power, when you refuse to seek their approval, you become a threat to everything they've worked so hard to maintain. And that's when the final assault begins. Jung called it strength shaming, a psychological attack designed to make you feel ashamed of your newfound power. They'll accuse you of being cold for setting boundaries, aggressive for speaking up, or arrogant for having confidence. They twist your healing into a weapon, and suddenly the very things that set you free become the things you start to doubt. You see, the narcissist doesn't just want to hurt you. They want to strip away the strength that now defines you, to weaken you enough to reclaim their control. It's a sinister manipulation, and the worst part is, it works, only if you let it. But here's the question. Will you let them turn your power into a weakness, or will you stand firm in the truth of who you've become? Have you ever wondered why, in your moments of strength, they suddenly start bringing up the past? It's not nostalgia. They're not missing the real you. They miss the controllable you, the one they could manipulate, the version of you who didn't question their authority. Carl Jung knew this tactic all too well. Narcissists don't just want you to look back with fondness, they want you to long for the time when you were weaker, more dependent, and easier to control. They begin to reminisce, pulling you back into the person you once were before you started setting boundaries or healing from their influence. "Remember when you used to laugh at my jokes?" they'll say. "You were so much happier before you started changing. We had such a good relationship back then." This isn't just idle conversation. It's a psychological time travel designed to make you doubt the very progress you've made. The trick is subtle and dangerous. As you listen, something inside you begins to stir, the longing for the past, for a simpler time when everything felt easy. But here's the question. When you think back to that version of yourself, are you remembering who you truly were, or are you falling into the trap they've set for you? The past they want you to return to is not a place of healing. It's a place of control. And the deeper you go, the harder it is to climb back out. What happens when the narcissist's usual tactics no longer work? When strength shaming and nostalgic manipulation fail, they deploy their most dangerous weapon, manufactured vulnerability. This is the point where the mask falls and the true extent of their manipulation becomes clear. Imagine this: you've been healing, building your confidence, standing firm in your boundaries, and just when you think you're free, the narcissist suddenly appears fragile, vulnerable, needy, lost. The person who once controlled you now seems like they need saving. It's almost irresistible. Carl Jung warned us about this moment. Narcissists are masters at recognizing what triggers your compassion. They know exactly what will make you drop your guard and question your own strength. A sudden crisis emerges, perhaps a health scare, family drama, or financial troubles, but it always seems to happen at the very moment when you're at your strongest. This isn't coincidence, it's calculated. The narcissist creates the very problem they want you to solve. They weaponize your empathy, pulling you back into the caretaker role. And here's the sinister part. They don't just want your help. They want you to sacrifice your newfound strength to weaken your boundaries in order to cater to their needs. But here's the real question. Will you fall for it? Or will you stand firm, recognizing that this crisis is nothing more than a trap? You've felt it, the pull, the guilt, the pressure to give up your hard-earned strength, to put your boundaries aside just this once. The narcissist, in their final act of manipulation, asks for something they know you'll find hard to refuse. "I know you've set these boundaries, but I really need you now," they'll say, making you feel responsible for their crisis. They exploit your compassion, the very thing that has kept you from falling back into their grasp. But here's where the manipulation goes deeper. It's not about the request itself, it's about what it represents. By asking you to break your own rules, to sacrifice your sense of self for their needs, they are testing you. They want you to prove that they matter more than your own well-being, that they still hold the power to make you abandon your growth. Carl Jung warned us about this very moment. The narcissist isn't asking for help. They're asking for you to abandon the very thing that has set you free. They want you to shrink back, to question the authenticity of your healing, and the real danger lies in the fact that it's so easy to give in, so easy to feel that your compassion is the answer. But the question is, will you sacrifice your strength for their comfort, or will you stand firm in your journey towards true freedom? Have you ever questioned whether your kindness is helping or harming you? What if I told you that in moments of weakness, the narcissist's final trick is designed to make you believe that sacrificing your boundaries is an act of love? Carl Jung understood this manipulation deeply. He called it differentiated compassion, the ability to feel empathy for someone without allowing that empathy to control your actions or sacrifice your own well-being. The narcissist, with their calculated crises, wants to blur the lines between care and control. They want you to feel responsible for their suffering, to believe that your healing is incomplete unless you step in to save them. But Jung warned that true compassion is knowing when to help and when to protect yourself. It's the art of loving someone without losing yourself in their need. And in that moment of decision, you are not only protecting your boundaries, you're also protecting your authentic self from being erased by the weight of their demands. As you stand at the crossroads, one question remains. Will you choose their chaos, or will you choose the peace you've fought so hard to create? It's a delicate balance, but the key to your freedom lies in choosing yourself, not their crisis. How long can you hold on before the pressure breaks you? How many times can you bend before you snap? The narcissist's final game is about to play out, and this time, it's not just about them anymore. It's about you. It's about your soul, your truth, and the way they've tried to twist it into something they can control. Carl Jung understood that the ultimate manipulation is not just about convincing you to act against your own self-interest. It's about making you doubt who you are, your strength, your healing, your sense of self. When they can no longer reach you through their lies, through guilt, through manufactured crises, they'll pull one last card from the deck. They'll try to convince you that you owe them something. But here's the revelation. You don't owe them anything. No amount of guilt, no amount of chaos can make your progress a debt that you must repay. The only thing you owe is to yourself. What happens when you realize this, when you look at them and see them for who they truly are, not someone you need to save, but someone who has been keeping you trapped in their web? This moment isn't just a decision, it's a rebirth. When you stop feeding their need for control, you stop feeding into their illusion, and in that moment, your freedom becomes undeniable. You were never truly theirs, you were always meant to be yours. What if the crisis, the chaos, and the manipulation were never truly about you, only about them? What if the narcissist's final trick was simply a desperate attempt to pull you back into their world, to make you forget the freedom you've worked so hard to claim? Carl Jung understood that true strength lies in self-awareness. When you recognize the manipulation, when you see the narcissist's games for what they really are, that's when you hold the power. The moment you refuse to shrink yourself, to bend to their will, is the moment you break free. But here's the catch. It's not a one-time decision. It's a constant act of choosing yourself over their chaos, over their need for control. Every time you stand firm in your boundaries, every time you reject their emotional manipulation, you remind yourself that you are in control of your life, not them. Now, as you stand on the other side of their influence, what does this freedom feel like? Is it peaceful, empowering, or is there still a part of you that questions whether you made the right choice? The real question is, can you finally trust yourself enough to walk away from their grasp, knowing that the true power was always within you? The answer is yours to claim. What if the real power you've been searching for was never theirs to give? What if it was always yours to claim? In this final confrontation, the truth becomes undeniable. The narcissist's manipulation was never about you. It was about their fear of losing control, fear of being confronted with their own emptiness. But you have already stepped beyond their reach. You've embraced your own strength, your authenticity, and nothing can take that from you. Carl Jung saw through the illusions we create for ourselves. The narcissist's power was never real. It was an illusion, a delicate web of fear and control, waiting for you to break free. And now you stand on the other side, no longer willing to play their game. You've recognized their tactics for what they are, and in doing so, you've reclaimed your sovereignty. As you stand here, in the quiet after the storm, a single question remains. Will you continue to embrace your true self, no matter the cost? In this moment, the choice is yours. The path forward is clear. You are no longer bound by their manipulation. You are free. And in that freedom, you discover a power far greater than any they could ever offer. What if the final battle wasn't about fighting anyone at all, but about embracing the truth of who you are, The manipulation, the guilt, the pull to shrink yourself, all of it was never about love. It was about control, fear, and a desperate need to keep you trapped in their world. Carl Jung understood something profound about our nature. He believed that our true strength lies not in the absence of fear or pain, but in our ability to confront them head-on and still remain true to ourselves. The narcissist thrives on weakness, on doubt, on the belief that you cannot stand alone. But the moment you realize that you don't need their approval, their validation, or their control, you reclaim your power. You may feel the weight of their absence, their need for you. But remember, this is the moment of your liberation. No more compromises, no more sacrifices. In letting go of their hold, you finally have the freedom to walk your own path, unshackled from the fear they planted in your mind. And as you step forward, you realize this is not the end, but the beginning. Your journey of healing, growth, and self-discovery has only just begun. Will you trust yourself to walk this path no matter where it leads? The choice is yours, always was. Have you ever wondered what would happen if you finally embraced the truth of who you are? What if the real battle wasn't about defeating them, but about standing firmly in your own light? The truth is, the narcissist's manipulation, the games they played, they were never about you. They were about their fear. Fear that you would one day realize you're more than their shadow, more than their tool of control. And now the power to heal, to grow, has always been yours. But here's the truth. Stepping into that power isn't easy. It's terrifying. It's lonely. The road forward isn't paved in certainty, but in choice. Every step forward is a choice to trust yourself. Every time you resist the pull of their chaos, every time you stand tall against their attempts to pull you back, you prove that your strength is your own. But can you walk forward without looking back? Can you finally trust that the freedom you seek isn't somewhere out there, but has always been right inside of you? The choice is yours. And as you walk this path, you'll find that the light isn't just the end, it's the beginning. The beginning of your journey, your true self, free from their influence. Will you choose it? If this stirred something within you, maybe it wasn't just a coincidence. The journey inward begins in silence. Follow the signs, stay aware, and remember, the self is always watching.